learning outcomes. After studying this module, you shall be able to know what is malware, learn how to detect the malware, identify different types of malware, how to prevent malware. Introduction. Malware is a false system optimization program. This parasite shows fake outcome in way to fright users and encourage them to purchase worthless application. Usually, malware is promoted as online scammer. The false scanner does system make sure and then without delay consumer to download malware. If he needs to eliminate infections, that has to be present through the false scans. Once installed and live, malware performs fake scan every time the system boots. After the fake scan, scammers suggest buying a complete version of this rogue because trial version can only detect infections but are unable to remove them. Also, this parasite can do more harm to the system. Malware document modifies the Windows host file in way to readdress admission to computer safety websites. The rogue can diminish presentation and make system work slower or run less powerful. So chiefly the whole thing is done to disturb users' workflow. Nothing strange that the user then searches for the way out of unsuitable situation. The most horrible is when user makes a decision to use malware doc and buys full version of this valueless application. The better choice is to remove this parasite as soon as possible after infection.
Malware. Malware is a term for any software that gets installed on your machine and performs unwanted tasks, often for some third party's benefit. Malware programs can vary from being uncomplicated irritation, pop-up advertising, to making grave computer attack and injure. Example: thieving passwords and data or infecting other equipment on the network. Furthermore, some malware programs are planned to spread information about your web browsing practice to advertisers or other third-party interests unbeknownst to you. Malware includes computer viruses, worms, Trojan horses, ransomware, spyware, and other malevolent programs. As of 2011, the most of the active malware fear were worms or Trojans rather than viruses. In law, malware is sometimes known as a computer contaminant, as in the legal codes of several US states. Malware is often disguised as or embedded in non-malicious files. Spyware or other malware is sometimes found embedded in programs supplied officially by companies. Example: downloadable from websites that appear useful or attractive but may have, for example, additional hidden tracking functionality that gathers marketing statistics. An example of such software which was described as illegitimate is the Sony rootkit, a Trojan embedded into CDs sold by Sony which silently installed and concealed itself on purchasers' computers with the intention of preventing illicit copying. It also reported on users' listening habits and created vulnerabilities that were exploited by unrelated malware. The term malware only applies to software that intentionally causes harm. Software that causes harm due to bugs or poor design are not classified as malware. For example, some legitimate software written before the year 2000 had errors that caused serious malfunctions. When the year changed from 1999 to 2000, these programs are considered malware. Software such as antivirus, anti-malware, and firewalls are used by home users and organizations to try to safeguard against malware attacks. As of 2012, approximately 60 to 70% of all active malware used some kind of click fraud to monetize their activity. Types of malware: virus, software that can replicate it and spread to other computers or are programmed to damage a computer by deleting files, deleting the contents of hard disk, or using up computer memory. Adware, software that is monetarily maintained or economically supports another program by showing ads when you're linked to the internet. Spyware, it is software that secretly collects information and then sends it out to the concerned parties. A type of information that is gathered includes the websites visited, browsers, and system information, and your computer IP address. Browser hijacking software, advertising software that changes your browser setting, example, default homepage, search bars, toolbars, create desktop shortcuts, and shows alternating promotion pop-ups. Once a browser is taken over, the software may also redirect links to other sites that advertise or sites that collect web usage information. Purposes: several near the beginning infectious programs comprising the first internet worm were written as try out or trick. Nowadays, malware is used by both black hat hackers and governments to steal personal, monetary, or business information and sometimes for damage. Example, Stuxnet. Malware is occasionally used largely in opposition to government or corporate websites to collect guarded information or to disturb their operation in general. Though malware is frequently used in opposition to persons to gain information like personal recognition numbers or particulars, bank or credit card numbers, and passwords. Left reckless, individual and networked computers can be at substantial risk in opposition to these terrorizations. These are most often protected against by diverse types of firewall, antivirus software, and network hardware. With the increase of widespread broadband internet access, malevolent software is more often made for profit. Since 2003, the mass of well-known viruses and worms have been planned to take power of users' computers for illegal purposes. Infected zombie computers are used to send email spam, to host contraband data such as child pornography, or to engage in distributed denial of service attacks as a form of extortion. Programs designed to monitor users' web browsing display unsolicited advertisement or redirect affiliate marketing revenues are called spyware. Spyware programs do not extend like viruses. As a substitute, they are usually installed by abuse safety holes. They can also be wrapping up mutually with user installed software like as peer-to-peer applications, ransomware affect an impure computer in some way and ask some to overturn the damage. For example, programs such as CryptoLocker encrypt files strongly and only decrypt them on expense of a significant amount of cash. Infectious malware, viruses, and worms. The best known types of malware, viruses, and worms are recognized for the mode in which they extend rather than any specific types of behavior. The term computer virus is used for a program that implants itself in several other executable software together with the operating system itself on the target system without the user's consent, and when that is run causes the virus to spread to other executable. On the other side, a worm is a standalone malware that actively transmits itself over a network to infect other alone malware programs that actively transmits itself over a network to infect other computers. These terms direct to the examination. A virus requires the user to run an infected program or working system for the virus to extend, whereas a worm spreads itself. Viruses, Trojan horses, rootkits, backdoors. Viruses. A computer virus is a malware program that, when executed, replicates by inserting copies of itself, possibly modified, into other computer programs, data files, or the boot sector of the hard drive. When this replication succeeds, the affected areas are then said to be infected. Its full form is Vital Information Resources Under Siege. Trojan horses. For a malevolent program to achieve its aim, it should be able to run with not being noticed, shut down, or erased. When a malicious program is camouflaged as a bit ordinary or wanted, users may, without knowing, install it. This is the technique of the Trojan horse or Trojan. In wide terms, a Trojan horse is any program that calls the customer to run it, high destructive or malicious executable code of any description. The code may give result without delay and can also give to many unwanted effects, such as encrypting the user's file or downloading and execute further malicious functionality. In the case of some spyware, adware, etc., the supplier may need the client to identify or believe its installation, describing its actions in free terms that may easily be misunderstood or ignored, with the purpose of misleading its installation without supplier officially in violate of the law. Rootkits. Once a malicious program is installed on a system, it is essential that it stays concealed to avoid detection. Software packages known as rootkits allow this concealment by modifying the host operating system so that the malware is hidden from the user. Rootkits can prevent a malicious process from being visible in the system's list of processes or keep its file from being read. Some malevolent programs include routine to shield in opposition to elimination, not just to conceal them. An early example of this action is recorded in the jargon file tale of couple of programs infesting a Xerox CPV time sharing system. Every ghost job will detect the fact that the other has been killed and will initiate a new copy of the freshly blocked program within a few milliseconds. The only way to kill both ghosts was to kill them at the same time. Very difficult, or to intentionally smash into the system. Backdoors. A backdoor is a technique of go around normal authentication procedures, generally over a link to a network like the internet. Once a method has been compromised, one or more backdoors may be installed in array to permit access in the future invisibly to the user. The thought that has frequently been recommended that computer producer pre-installed backdoors on their system to offer technical sustain for consumers, but this has never been reliably verified. It was reported in 2014 that US government agencies had been deflect computers paid for by those measured targets to underground workshops where software or hardware authorized remote entrance by the agency was installed, considered to be among the most productive operations to obtain access to networks around the world. Backdoors may be installed by Trojan horses, worms, implants, or other methods. Anti-malware strategies. As malware hit become more common, awareness has begun to move from viruses and spyware defense to malware defense and programs that have been specially prepared to combat malware. Other defensive and recovery events, such as backup and recovery technique, are mentioned in the computer virus article. Antivirus and anti-malware software. A precise part of the antivirus and anti-malware software, usually referred as the on-axis or real-time scanner, hooks deep into the operating system's core or kernel functions in a way similar to how several malware itself would try to function, although with the user's informed permission for protecting the system. Anytime the operating system enter a file, the on-axis scanner ensures if the file is a legitimate file or not. If the file is measured a malware by the scanner, the entrance operation will be blocked. The file will be dealt by the scanner in predefined method. How antivirus program was configured during post installation, and the user will be notified. This may considerably slow down the operating system depending on how well the scanner was programmed. The goal is to stop any operations the malware may attempt on the system before they occur, including activities which might exploit bugs or trigger unexpected operating system behavior. Anti-malware programs can combat malware in two ways. One, they can provide real-time protection against the installation of malware software on a computer. This type of malware protection works the same way as that of antivirus protection in that the anti-malware software scans all incoming network data for malware and blocks any threats it comes across. 2. Anti-malware software programs can be used solely for detection and removal of malware software that has already been installed on a computer. This type of anti-malware software scans the contents of the Windows Registry Operating Systems file and install programs on a computer and will provide a list of any threats found, allowing the user to choose which files to delete or keep, or to compare this list to a list of known malware components, removing files that match. Real-time protection from malware works identically to real-time antivirus shield. The software scans disk's file at download time and stops the activity of components known to represent malware. In some cases, it may also intercept attempts to install startup items or to modify browser settings. Because many malware apparatus are installed as an outcome of browser exploits or user fault, using safety software, a number of which are anti-malware, though many are not, to sandbox browsers, fundamentally separate the browser from the computer, and thus any malware provoke alter can also be efficient in serving to confine any damage done. Examples of Microsoft Windows antivirus and anti-malware software include the optional Microsoft Security Essentials for Windows XP, Vista, Windows 7, and Windows 8 for real-time protection. The Windows malicious software removal tool, now included with Windows security updates on Tuesday, the second Tuesday of each month, and Windows Defender, an optional download in the case of Windows XP. Additionally, several able antivirus software programs are accessible for free download from the internet, generally constrained to non-commercial use. Tests establish some free programs to be competitive with marketable ones. Microsoft's System File Checker can be used to ensure for and renovate ruined system files. Some viruses disable System Restore and other significant Windows tools such as Task Manager and Command Prompt. Various viruses can be detached by rebooting the computer, entering Windows mode with networking, and then by means of system tools or Microsoft Safety Scanner. Currently, no technique is recognized for identifying hardware implants. Known good. Typical malware goods spot subject based on heuristics or signatures, that is, based on information that can be accessed to be bad. Some products take and substitute move towards when scanning documents such as Word and PDF by redeveloping a new, clean file based on what is recognized to be good from scheme definitions of the file. A copyright for this approach exists. Website security scan. As malware also troubles the cooperation websites by breaking status, blacklisting in Explore engines, etc., some websites suggest susceptibility scans. Such scans ensures the website identify malware, may note out-of-date software, and may report recognized security issues.
Summary. Malware, short for malicious software, is any software used to interrupt computer process, collect insightful information, or get entrance to confidential computer systems. It can emerge in the form of executable code, scripts, lively content, and other software. Malware is a common word used to refer to a range of type of hostile or intrusive software. The term badware is sometimes used and applied to both true malicious malware and unintentionally harmful software.